So I walked up to the producer and asked him whether if he had signed up the director when he was drunk. So Jackie Shroff, who plays the old man in the movie, he's done close to 100 and maybe close to 200 films. By the time
Right.
he's doing this film in Tamil, that was his first entry into Tamil. The first day, he made Jackie Shroff do 36 takes. We had an alternative ending for the movie also.
Oh,
We
really?
yeah. We still have it.
Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews. This is the second of a three-part series of my interview with film editor Praveen K, National Award winner for the film Aaranya Kaandam. In this second part, we talk extensively about the making of Aaranya Kaandam. It was like a dream come true to me. I loved director Kumararaja's Super Deluxe, and this was his very first film. And I got to ask one of the filmmakers all sorts of questions about the making of the film and the thoughts behind such an experimental and different kind of a film. Please do follow the link above if you have not seen my first part of my interview with Praveen, where we talk about his background and how he started in film editing in Indian films. Praveen has been a film editor of over 80 films. He's won the Tamil State Award for the film Saroja, and he has not only won the National Film Award for Aaranya Kaandam, but has been behind several blockbuster films like Rajinikanth's Kabali, NGK with Surya, and Maharshi with Mahesh Babu. I just started watching Indian films, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and it's a completely different film language, if you will, a different grammar than I'm used to in Western films. I'm completely used to it now to the point where I watch a Western film and I say, wait a minute, I'm not getting an hour backstory on this character? Like, what? But it was an adjustment. It has its own rhythms and it has its own grammar that's very different than Western film. But when I watched your national award winning film Aranya Kaandam, it felt like you broke a lot of those rules in making that film. It was so different and fresh feeling and raw. I don't know. It just, and then especially like the chase sequence where people are upside down. And it just really, there was no big hero entrance for anyone in slow mo. There were no breaks for songs. It was so completely different. Can you tell me kind of some, I don't know how much it was the director and how much was you and some of those really interesting choices?
Sure. But before that, yeah, talking about the grammar of the Western films and Indian films, the basic writing structure itself differs. For us, we're all suckers for drama and emotion. Uh, so we try to bring in a lot of songs, larger than life images. That's what we try to portray,
Yeah.
and uh, and also the writing differs. The reason why I said that was we have an interval here or an intermission.
Yes.
So, in an English film, there's only one high point, which is your climax. But we have two high points, which is your intermission and then the climax. So
Right.
that kind of actually, for a writer, it's a challenge to bring in two high points in the same script. But we are used to it, so we kind of got into the rhythm. Yeah, coming back to Aaranya Kaandam itself, it was my second film that I worked on, and in fact, the producer S.P.V. Charan, he flew me in from Singapore to hear the script. He was so much in love with it, and I kind of when I first heard it, it had much more the language of the script itself. It was more intense and very raw, as in it hits you straight on your face. Back then, I'm talking about 2008. Back then, people here, at least the audience, were not prepared for films like that. So I walked up to the producer and asked him whether if he had signed up the director when he was drunk. That was my typical reaction. Anyway, so yeah, but we liked it. We liked it. We just didn't know whether the audience will take it or whether they will reject it. So we had that small iota of doubt. But Kumararaja, the director, he was very hell bent, and Charan was also kind of pushing it. He kind of had a vision that this movie is going to break a lot of barriers. So director went back and rewrote the script, toned down the rawness of the language. When I say the rawness, what I mean is there were so many expletive words, obscene words, which we typically use in typical slums and all that. So that was toned down, and the entire structure was brought into place. And Kumar, he has made another film, Super Deluxe, which is again a lovely film.
One of my all-time favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It is very hard to satisfy Kumar. When I say hard, I've edited some sequences. I had like 20 to 25 versions of the same sequence. So that hard. So we kind of explored a lot, and we had a lot of time because it was the producer's baby project, pet project. He wanted to give us as much. See, I was working on 3 films that were produced by the same producer at the same time. But he always used to give more preference to Aaranya Kaandam. Aaranya Kaandam used to get the preferential treatment in terms of equipment, in terms of shooting days, in terms of everything.
Wow.
So we took our sweet time. I mean, I think I edited that film close to 8 months or 9 months, if I'm not wrong. Finally, it came out the way it is right now. But unfortunately, that's the only thing that I always tell people when they ask me about Aaranya Kaandam. If it had made its money commercially, which unfortunately didn't happen at that point of time because some other big film came and this movie was taken out of the theaters in 3 or 4 days.
Oh, I didn't realize that it had such a short run. Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
It was a very short run, and see, it didn't. We couldn't reach out to people because Charan didn't have the money to publicize it. The producer didn't have much money to publicize it. So yeah, unfortunately, we were very disappointed with the way it turned out. But it all got off our head the moment the national awards were announced. Charan got his due, Kumaraja got his due, and I think I also got all
Yes,
our
you did. Very well
all of,
deserved.
yeah,
Wow.
thank
I
you.
did not, I mean, I knew it had not been as successful commercially, but has gained cult film status, deservedly so.
Well,
I watched it on Hotstar, so all of the curse words were bleeped. And I
yeah,
have a feeling they may have trimmed a few scenes,
really, yeah,
so I think it was even censored more. What I read was the film didn't have the full colorization and everything, and you premiered in New York City with it, and then the censor board in India wanted you to make, what was it, 52 different, was it mostly
56.
language, or was it violence cuts? 52 cuts. Oh my gosh. It's
56.
oh my gosh.
That would have killed the film. But Charan refused to budge in for them, and we went all the way up to the Supreme Court, which is the highest court here in India. So we got it there, and Charan fought with the censor board typically, and it went to the revising committee, and you're getting to see what you're seeing. But I would say that is still not 100% of the film. We have a copy that was premiered in New York. Uh, you know, I'll tell you that story also. So early morning, 7 o'clock, Kumar was supposed to take the hard drive out from the edit room, and he has to fly, land. We had a typical buffer of about an hour or 2 hours for the premiere itself.
Yeah.
So even if there was a 15-minute delay in the flights that he took, I mean, even the connecting flights, this movie wouldn't have happened. But then anyway, it happened. So we were editing till 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's,
Down to the wire.
yeah, down to the line. You're right.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
it was a wonderful experience. I mean, after all the hard work that went in, I think when we premiered the movie about close to in 2017, if I'm not wrong. I'm talking about 2009 is when Aaranya Kaanam got released. We're talking about 8 years later. We premiered in one of the film festivals here in Chennai. I went in because I tried to organize the show for the film festival, and so what I got goosebumps because 8 years later, every one of them stood up and clapped after the movie was over. That was something I will hold close to my heart. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was a little bit ahead of its time because if you think about some of the other films that are out now, I didn't feel like the violence, or I don't know if it was more violence or language that the censor board was offended by, but I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to tell because I didn't see the cut that you wanted to have completely, I guess. It was an amazing film. So can you talk a little bit more about some of these really interesting choices, especially that the one that sticks in my mind is that chase sequence with the inner monologue of Pusapati, and he's it has a very interesting background music score that you used for it. I don't know, just everything about it was so interesting and experimental and different, and I absolutely loved it.
See, I'll tell you how Kumar Raja is first, so for you to get a better understanding. See, Kumar is a typical, I wouldn't say typical, is very, I would say, a very different kind of working mentality he has. So he's not satisfied until he's satisfied. He doesn't care what you think. Uh, for him, it's all about his satisfaction. He should feel the high. If he doesn't, he wouldn't let you go. Jackie Shroff, who plays the old man in the movie, he's done close to 100 and maybe close to 200 films. By the
Right.
time he's doing this film in Tamil, that was his first entry into Tamil. The first day, he made Jackie Shroff do 36 takes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my
And,
gosh.
and the 36 takes, that's the shot where he walks in from the home all the way to the car. It's a single shot. It's a That shot is close to about a minute and a half, if
Wow.
I'm not. So 36 takes of that. 2 days they shot the same shot. Yeah. So that's how intense Kumar is, and you need to reach his plateau to understand him. Ideally, so Kumar, we discussed something. Kumar wanted to use classical music throughout the film. We had Beethoven's, everyone you can
Yeah.
name it. We had symphonies organized in my timeline, and we used to cut for that. We used to follow that rhythm musically in terms of edit and all that. Once we got that, we took out the music tracks, we put them away, we muted them, and we started watching the movie by itself. And
Okay.
then we started taking the cuts. So basically, what I'm trying to convey is everything. Kumar had a vision, and from that, we all try to channelize it. We all try to, try to incorporate it as close to what he wanted, whatever he thought about. Um, the background score. This is another interesting thing that a lot of people don't know. Yuvan Shankar Raja is one of the biggest music directors here in Tamil Nadu, music composers rather. Uh, we made him score the background score twice. So that has never happened in his career. Because the first time it came, none of us liked it. None of us liked it, and we said this is trash. We respect you, we love your work, but no, this is absolute nonsense that you have done. So Ewan took it up as a challenge. He took it up as a challenge. He went back and he said, "Give me 4 or 5 days. I'll show you what I can." And he delivered.
Well, I mean,
So
I think about one of the first moments where I really kind of sat up and noticed was one of the first scenes with Jackie Schroff when he's giving that sort of
yeah,
expression into the camera, and there's this. It's like somebody just slammed their hands onto the piano. This discord sound, and I was like, oh, this is this is really different.
well, that's very Kumar. I asked him why he had that mannerism of Jackie Shah. He told me that he does that to his mom sometimes. This E. So, yeah.
It was,
And
yeah. I mean, I haven't seen all 200 of Jackie Schroeff's films, but it was so different. I mean, he
uh,
really pulled out a different performance from him. Was his voice dubbed, or did he speak Tamil enough to do?
no, no, he can't. He can't. His voice was dubbed. But the best part with Jackie Shroff was, um, although it wasn't a language that he understood or that he could speak very fluently during his on shoots, he kind of remembered all his lines and he delivered it verbally. at least people can read a bit later. None of his lip sync is off.
Yeah, that's what I was noticing. That's why I asked the question, because it seemed, especially in those close-up scenes, I was like, it didn't sound. It sounded pretty close to his voice, but I was like, wow. I'm not seeing it, because often when you see someone acting in a film industry that's not their native language, then you definitely can see a mismatch there. It
That's
doesn't
it.
always. It's not always perfect.
We had an alternative ending for the movie also.
Oh,
Which,
really?
yeah, yeah. We still have it.
And you're just gonna leave it hanging there and not tell me?
It's gonna come out soon. It's gonna come out. We are trying to push Aaranya Kaandam to one of the big OTT platforms. Once that happens, we'll probably get
Oh.
the ending also.
Okay, well let me just tell you what I was feeling through the film. There's really only one female character in the film, Jackie Sharp's mistress, and she's so, she just comes off as simpering and weak and whatever. And I was thinking to myself, well, he did a better job with women characters in Super Deluxe, you know. And then we get to the ending, and I'm like, it was amazing. And then all of your flashback shots where you see her expression change as soon as someone's not looking at her, in all of those different moments from previous points in the film. So it was amazing.
We had a certain grammar for the film. I don't know whether maybe I should explain it better. The entire movie goes on a certain rhythm until the end twist or the climax portion reveals. That's the chase sequence. That's where we reveal what the intentions are or what the twist of the film is all about. Until then, we wanted to unsettle the audience a little bit. So the cuts don't happen when you think they will happen. They'll
Hmm.
happen a tad bit later. They will happen a little bit later because basically we wanted the audience to get unsettled so that when the twist hits, it hits them hard. So
Yes.
that was planned.
Yeah, I think the whole thing, because it's not giving giving the audience exactly what they expect of certain scenes. There's a certain way that you're used to seeing a fight scene happen, or the certain way you're used to seeing, I don't know, even like I call it a Mexican standoff with the knives in the car when he overhears the speaker phone that he's going to be bumped off, and then everybody's at knives, and you have the sound effects of that. I mean, even that was just different. It wasn't normally you see it all with guns or whatever. It was it was everything. Everything was, there were so many moments where I just kind of jumped, and it gave me something totally unexpected.
Now, both of us are big Tarantino and Guy Ritchie fans, me and Kumar. So, yeah, that's where the influence comes from.
Don't miss part 3 of my interview with National Award winning film editor Praveen, when we talk about the making of Kabali with Rajinikanth and his upcoming projects and his influences from Western films.
I came out, my hand was shaking like this for the next 1.5 hours. It was unbelievable. That's another film that people are still coming back and telling us how much they loved it. In fact, yesterday I met someone. He told me that he has watched the film close to 16 times.